Brookside Consulting, cloud-based voice, video, contact center, and internet. Communicate simply. Today we're going to talk about ShoreTel. ShoreTel was once a major player in the telecommunications space until they hit an iceberg named Mitel. So when Mitel bought ShoreTel, well, the wheels kind of came off, and a large number of their key employees in R&D and support jumped ship and went to the competitors from Avaya, RingCentral, Dialpad, and 8bay. So in the website, you've got to go look and see if what you're using today with ShoreTel is still supported, if it's been renamed or discontinued. So what really happened there is Mitel bought ShoreTel back in September of 2017. Then Searchlight, a big private equity company, bought Mitel in November and then sold the customer base in November of 2021. So basically what happened when Searchlight acquired Mitel, Rich McBee said, we're pleased to have completed the transaction, excited for Mitel to begin a new chapter. Searchlight shares our vision to continue our move to the cloud strategy, which is very consistent in this industry with pretty much all the manufacturers. Now, what Mitel decided to do as part of a private equity company is get out of the hardware manufacturing business, and they sold all their customers to RingCentral. That was the ability to be able to help them move to the cloud. So Searchlight's the new owners of Mitel, and they're a private equity fund, and basically they make investments across a wide range of transaction types, buyouts, growth equity, recapitalization investments through. They've got a bunch of money, and they turn companies around. They provide flexible capital and seek out complex situations which their capital and strategic support enhance the value of all shareholders. That means they only care about money, pretty much. They don't care about ShoreTel. They don't care about Mitel. They don't care about any existing support contracts or all that stuff, because they got their own lawyers. Their own attorneys can sit there like they did to me, not Searchlight, but another private equity company, and want to see if you've got the money to fight them legally. And they've got their own attorneys on staff. So, and they really feel like the cloud is clearly the way things are going. And financially, premise-based equipment just doesn't make sense anymore. So they're not spending any more money or time on it than they have to. So they want you to move over to RingCentral. Now, that is where they want you to go, but is it the best solution to meet your particular needs and budget? Brookside is a consulting firm. We help for free. We help you find the right provider for voice, video, and contact center. And that may be taking some of your existing stuff you're using and integrating it into ways to make things just much easier on the users. Then we look at the best combination of desk phones and business apps integration to help you meet your users' needs. So that, so once again, cloud-based voice, video, contact center, internet, communicate simply. And so where it gets complicated is when people start talking about the cloud. There's the private cloud and there's the public cloud. So what's best for you? That's kind of what we help you with at Brookside, or what I help you with. So you got to do everything yourself, like you do in a private cloud with multiple virtual. You got to know VMware. You got to be able to keep all that stuff up to speed. You got to have hardware somewhere, even in the cloud. And so you have to have data center grade technical resources, which are expensive, and all your software and server maintenance is on you. Security is on you for the remote workforce. Software patches, upgrades for multiple servers. Responsibility for a third party, SIP trunks from your phone vendor. And once again, you pick the number of SIP trunks. So that can be limited on the number of people that can actually get a hold of you. If you go to the public cloud, the provider does everything. Zero hardware on site, zero software responsibility, no upgrades, anything, patches. There's free technical support for 24/7, 365 for everything. It's all included in the price. All technical issues are the providers, not yours. All the users are remote. They just need internet because this is a cloud-based solution. So everybody just has to get to the cloud. Can't tell you how less complex that is than everybody having to get to a particular address in Austin or wherever they've got this stuff located. The built-in security is designed to handle remote users. And so it scales quickly. You just add licenses as needed. And the phone lines are included, so there's unlimited voice paths, so you never have to worry about that. And it winds up, believe it or not, being the lowest cost per user to be able to go with the public cloud. So other ways to look at cloud-based versus on-premise is a growing business is looking to stretch their IT budget, or they don't have IT resources. They go for a cloud-based system. They don't want to be responsible for the phone system. They just want it to work, and they want somebody to call when it doesn't. Now if you do have significant IT resources, there are too many people or enough people where it requires total control or fully customized solution, maybe it makes sense to have an on-premise solution, but I can't see where it makes financial sense. So when we look at cloud-based versus on-premise, there are three crucial factors that the CIO looks at before doing one. Economics, you're still using on-premise providers, they're stuck in dead-end systems and older technology. You're still relying on third-party phone vendors that are dealers, more or less. These latest solutions are getting more and more expensive with higher managed support costs as more and more people are getting out of the business. Scalability. Most PBXs have slashed their R&D funding and all but given up on carving out a path forward on anything that is print on premise. So the writing's on the wall. The future is the cloud. And of course, the on-premise systems can't keep up with the cloud-based solutions today with their uptime and reliability. With companies like 8x8 offering 5 nines and with platform-wide uptime SLA, it's kind of hard to beat. So when you start looking at on-premise solution, there's so many things that you're responsible for. I mean, seriously, it's like a lot of responsibility from backing up the data to keeping the air conditioning going to all that stuff, electricity, upgrades, everything's there. You know, when you move to the cloud, well, it works on any device, anywhere. And there's unlimited free technical support. So there's almost zero responsibility for IT other than just to manage, the relationship. Because I mean, when we start really stepping back and taking a look at it, most companies, it's many of these programs require login. I mean, from up to 3 different content and screen sharing services and 3 collaboration tools with multiple logins, passwords. It's just really kind of hard on the users. So why move voice, chat, and video to the cloud? Well, you know exactly what you're going to spend on a cost per user basis for the next 3 to 5 years. There's minimal upfront costs, and it pays for itself through savings when comparing it for the total cost per user. Reduce complexity and responsibility for IT by getting rid of legacy server hardware and circuits. Consolidate your collaboration tools, reduce the number of apps and logins and passwords for both the users and IT. You pay for what you need on a per user basis and always have the latest features and capabilities. Consolidation integration of key apps deliver the best possible user experience. So it's got, clicks, not code, going into things like Teams and 365, Workforce, Salesforce, HubSpot, WebEx. They all just click and go. Zoom. Anyway, it meets, and then we help make sure you meet your business continuity and security goals with enterprise connectivity using fiber and SD-WAN. So Brookside truly helps you find the best path to the cloud for voice, chat, video, and connectivity. So Brookside Consulting, like I said, Microsoft Teams and voice is a big deal. Voice, video, chat, figuring out what solution makes the most sense. Your managed network services, omni-channel contact center, customer journey analytics, and secure mobility solutions. All part of our delivery of cloud-based voice, video, contact center, and internet. Once again, communicate simply. So what we have here, my 8x8 has a 8x8 voice for Microsoft Teams, which is a really good solution to move to if you're an existing Mitel customer. Most of your Mitel customers today are sitting out there using Microsoft Teams for internal voice calls, meetings, chat, task management, file storage, and use a legacy phone system to make and receive phone calls outside. So it might be, it could be a Mitel, it could be whatever they've got. But in this situation, we're talking about Mitel and ShoreTel. So there's 2 solutions to manage this situation where you're managing both hardware on site, a phone vendor for PSTN or for your dial tone, and a desk phone. And then separately, you've got Teams. And what we can do is we can help you using direct routing, provide one app for everything. So we take all your internal and external phone calls and put them right into Teams. So there's a single login with no change to Teams user experience, and they can start making and receiving calls within Microsoft Teams without ever leaving the app. So what happens is you get rid of the phones that you have today and the hardware and the phone carrier and all that stuff, move in there, and there's no reason for users to have 2 logins, 2 solutions to do the same thing, one for internal, one for external. Why have 2 voicemails, 2 things? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. So what happens is move voice to Microsoft Teams and use it as your phone system. So you had inbound, outbound calling to your existing Teams, like I said, on the calls button there. So what happens, the first step is, when you go to the calls button, now there is a dial pad there. So you can make calls. There's a work number that would be your caller ID going in and out for both phone calls as well as SMS texting. So you can use it on any device. So when we add voice to Microsoft Teams, we reduce complexity and we save money. So when we get rid of the phone system hardware and lines, and move it to this, it's very easy to implement, manage, and use on any device, anywhere. I mean, these people are already using Teams in most cases. And there's really no change to Teams user experience. Just now, instead of having, a separate phone solution, they've got everything all in one place. So there's multiple options for doing Microsoft Teams integration. A lot of companies have been looking at this. I mean, so when you start looking at how Teams is set up, it's in the Azure geo-redundant high availability data center out there, and it's running, and you have ways to be able to integrate with all these premise-based and cloud-based phone system solutions, so that all voice calls will go through that Teams call button. It helps, and we help you find the best integration for you to meet your specific needs and budget, because we want to move everything to the cloud. I mean, it's just going to work out better. Once they have this app, their outbound caller ID is their work number. So, it's not so much like it was in the past where when you use your cell phone, you give out your cell number. So Microsoft has their own voice service. It's Microsoft Business Voice. It's expensive and it's limited on what it offers. But there's things, things to consider is, if Teams goes down, voice goes down, so you lose all your calls. And Teams is not perfect. Issues with voice quality and drop calls, limited experience with voice. I mean, we're using Teams. It's a very bandwidth intensive, application. So they're reselling somebody else's SIP trunks. It doesn't work well with Apple. Microsoft never has worked well with Apple, and no one cares. And it's hard to find good support for voice issues. They've got so many tickets over there. It's not even funny. It's all backed up. So and then they never really take responsibility for any problems, and that's why I call them number one in finger pointing when it comes to problems. So since there is no API for Microsoft Teams, this is the number one workaround for Microsoft Teams and voice. It's called Call the Teams, since there's no API available. So all the major phone vendors use the same application more or less to be able to have their phone system solution talk to Microsoft Teams. And the way it works is, in the cloud, there's some hardware. Basically, it connects via SIP to your desktop. So it's plug and play with most of the major PBXs and cloud providers and most SIP phones. So it works with pretty much everything, which is kind of unique. When I say everything, I mean, it'll work with your current Mitel system. So if you wanted your current Mitel system to use Teams for voice, you could. That's right. If you had the regular Mitel, traditional 3300 as well, or if you've got Dialpad or WebEx or Vonage or WebEx with Cisco phones versus Polycom phones, you've got Nice, CX1, you got Five9, Zoom. All these guys all integrate to Teams, all the same way. Right. And then there's Avaya Cloud Office, which is a little different because you're using the Avaya phone. So they're going to have Avaya features like that you would normally have on a phone system that kind of go away in the cloud. Things like Park and Page, perfect for car dealerships and things of that nature, where you're running around trying to find people. It'll work on a current Avaya system, so it works on the cloud or the Avaya, pretty much anything. One of the best ones it works with, though, is 8x8. And I'll show you why. 8x8 is a global company. It's got a really reliable product. It's very easy to support and has all kinds of features and capabilities, including clicks, not code, integrations into Microsoft Teams and Salesforce, Slack, Zendesk, all the big ones, NetSuite, Zoom, so that you've got your enterprise contact center when you're ready for that to do omni-channel with AI and speech analytics. There's obviously video conferencing that uses a fourth of the bandwidth of Teams within the 8x8 application. Voice communications works pretty much all the standard SIP phones, and you get analytics on every customer employee interaction, which is really good. So a lot of big major global companies are 8x8 accounts. They get sold by private channel partners like myself. So, and they do some direct. But big ones around here would be Indeed and Verbo and Expedia. Those guys are all big 8x8 accounts because of their international long distance capabilities, I believe, is part of the deal in their call center. So 8x8 voice for Microsoft Teams integration. It's enterprise-grade telephony and global PSTN connectivity for customers that want to use Microsoft Teams as their sole collaboration interface. So how it looks when we kind of map it out is you're doing your video and chat with Microsoft Teams. We come in with direct routing and we connect enterprise voice circuits, or basically an integration into Microsoft Teams from 8x8. It's prepackaged so that you're able to use one app for voice, chat, video, screen sharing, task management, file sharing. And it works, like I said, with most of the SIP hardware desk phones, from your Cisco's to your Polycom or Polys to your Yealinks. There's other brands as well. But most of the users are going to prefer a cordless headset over a desk phone. They're going to want on their desktop, notebook, or tablet with the cordless headsets. And then, of course, they want to use their AirPods or their mobile. So, what the advantage here is we're using this application on any device, anywhere. And the best part is the outbound caller ID for all your phone calls and your texting. Show your work number, so you're not giving out your personal number information. So that works out great, especially when you want to use your cell phone. Basically, if you connect it over Wi-Fi or however you got it connected, it's got the ability to make and receive calls. That works out very well. So once again, single sign-on, works on all devices. And it's one app for everything. This is just really easy. Now, another advantage to 8x8 is international voice, chat, and video. So they've got data centers all over the world. So they've got things like local presence in 38 countries and unlimited calling to 47, which, if you in some countries, this makes a big difference. I mean, you start looking at it, even your most basic license, which is an X2 in most cases, it's got free calling to everything from UK to Germany to Netherlands, New Zealand, Spain, all these places, Canada. Australia, and then you move up, a little bit more money, you've got the ability to get into places like Norway, Poland, Portugal, all these places, Luxembourg. And then of course zone 3 has everything, including Singapore, South Africa, Turkey, Malaysia. Anyway, you see that's perfect if you're doing long distance business. So 8x8 voice for teams, once again, this is my screen, what it looks like. Basically your current status, your chat, your team's dashboard, your calendar, your phone calls, your faxes. And then of course, there's an 8x8 app button. Okay. And the way that works is, okay, and then once this is connected, boom, there's your phone calls. Okay. And your dial pad is there. So it's very easy to install. We just basically fill out a CSV file or a user template. We load that into the 8x8 cloud. And next thing you know, all the users are in there set up. And with the phone numbers and everything, they give you temporary numbers to use until you're ready to port or move your existing numbers over, which allows you to test the system, make sure you're ready to go. Once they both have the right permissions, setting up Teams users easy as 1, 2, 3. For example, when you want to add a user, you just go in the admin console, you get users, and you click one button that says Enable Microsoft Teams integration, and you're done. You're set up. You've set up a new user. So the app works within Teams, and it gives you 8x8 information within Teams. It's really slick. The way you get it is, like I said, there's those 3 dots over there that gives you your apps and plugins in the team store. Okay, so once you install that, then you've got the ability to use, like I said, single sign-on, and that allows you to be able to have that 8x8 logo over there, which using single sign-on gives you the ability to have this app, so that you see your keypad and everything there, and then you start seeing things like in the admin console where you can manage all of your phone system and contact center programming. In this portal, from managing phone numbers and users, changing your auto attendance, setting up ring groups. I mean, doing everything, and you're doing all this while you're still within Teams, which is pretty interesting. And so when you get done, you have a little dashboard that comes with it. That goes, once again, you see we're in Teams. There's your voicemails, there's your SMS text, there's your faxes, call recordings. So you have call recording on demand. And there's your 8x8 settings, allow you to get into the phone system and the 8x8 app. So your SMS texting will look like this. You'll see if you got new ones. It works out great. Here's your portal. It gives you the ability to make changes to your voicemail settings, get your password changed, call forwarding, things of that nature, external caller ID. All these things you could, each individual user can customize their particular experience, right? And then if you compare it to what, the other call routing or direct routing solutions, I mean, they got unlimited calling for Microsoft Teams all over. I mean, they've got, the only team certified contact center. They've got advanced telephony and contact center analytics for Microsoft Teams. Everything's built around Teams, all customized. And so you can send and receive faxes, phone calls, MMS, and everything from Teams, and it looks like your business. And it basically allows you to be able to call all these countries for free as well. So it's an all-in-one communication solution. It's one solution that does UCaaS, CCaaS, contact center, does video meetings, everything all in one. And what it looks like when you start moving to the call center is omni-channel just allows you to be able to take everything from web chat to email, faxes. I mean, anything coming from social media, bring it all in and make it look like phone calls so that you're able to route these calls using, intelligent IVR to get them to the right appropriate place and know that everything that's going on in your system. So then we start looking at self-service, because self-service is a big deal right now. So we have self-service versus smart self-service. So self-service means we allow them to do stuff themselves, kind of like when you check out the store now, you do your own. These capabilities are accessible through the phone, company website, voice, intelligent, text-based intelligent virtual agents, mobile apps, and all that. Then there's smart self-service. What that does, that uses analytics and AI to basically continuously fine-tune activities for better resolution in customer user experiences. So, basically it takes repeat conversations and automates them and gives you the best possible customer experience. Because over 80% of customers will try to solve their problems on their own using web search and or self-service. So you want to make sure you have the right self-service solution. That includes quality management, speech analytics, and things that come with, packages, certain software packages that you would use just for the key individuals where you would want to be able to track this kind of information. So when we get into analytics, that's reporting and things of that nature. There's speech analytics, which has the tendency to go in and listen in on and make intelligent decisions about what you're doing or where you're at in phone calls, provide you some coaching capabilities. Then you've got, so you've got, if any of this sounds like your situation, you're going to need analytics. Are you missing customer calls? Are you losing business you don't even know about? Meaning, do you have the staffing? Are all your salespeople following up on their leads? Should we reroute all our calls because we're getting too many of them? Are we getting communication quality, reliability? And then how many calls were abandoned with the voicemail, and how long are people waiting on hold? These are all things that we want to be able to know and adjust. So some of the main key differentiators would be it's a single integrated cloud technology platform, which is different because a lot of people have to have all the features we're talking about, have multiple vendors involved. Lowest total cost of ownership. When you add it all up, it's cheaper. That's the bottom line. Contact centers, native integration with UC, industry-leading security, global architecture with 99.99% SLAs, and seamless Microsoft Teams integration. So we started talking about how cloud-based solutions work. One of the things we're going to need is the highest level of business continuity. So what that means, we want to look at something called SD-WAN, which has nothing to do with the phones, anything to do with, everything to do with the internet. So it's automatic failover between multiple fiber, coax, 4G and 5G circuits, so that you basically it's managed 24/7. If there's a problem, you can prioritize things like video and voice over things like QuickBooks and YouTube, things like that. So SD-WAN will ensure high levels of performance for web-based apps without sacrificing security or data privacy. Centralized, easy to manage dashboard for watching what everything's going on from an activity standpoint. Real-time optimized performance for all the apps, meaning it can prioritize it. Uses something called QoS or quality of service that prioritizes these real-time apps over the ones that are not real-time. You don't know if you get an email and it comes in 2 minutes late, but if you're in the middle of a phone call, you can have some quality issues. So secure traffic across broadband internet in the cloud, integrated threat protection, enforced all the right places. And so SD-WAN wise, we work with everybody from some of the carriers like Grande S-Town to Spectrum and AT&T and Lumen to OneStream, VMware, Cisco, Meraki. We're very familiar with all these. It can help you come up with a solution that's managed 24/7, so if there's a problem. Speaking of problems, what if Microsoft Teams goes down? It has. What are we going to do here? We start looking at Down Detector, which is a website that allows you to see how often companies go down. You start seeing these charts over the last 24 hours, and you kind of see a good comparison that there are some issues we probably don't even know are happening with some of these applications that we're using. We just know sometimes they don't work. And so what happens is when we start looking at phones, we either have Teams-based phones, which only work if Teams works, and like these new Poly ones, or we've got the old school ones that run independent of Teams. So if they're running independent Teams, they really don't know, have no real-time presence to know that, Larry's on the phone or not when they call him from the desk phone. They will within Teams, but they won't. That information doesn't carry over into the Polycom phone. So what happens is if Teams goes down, what happens is in this design, 8x8's still working. So the phone still works, still taking calls, even when Microsoft Teams is down. So that works out really well. If Teams is going to be down for an extended period of time, 8x8 has an application that does all, voice, video, and has presence in IM. It's called 8x8 Work. As you can see, it looks very similar to what you have with Teams over there on the toolbar. So, it's not a huge difference to use one or the other. That's what people use for whenever Teams goes down for an extended period of time. So it comes down to what are the costs, okay? Well, we start looking at the user bundles. In most cases, most people fit into an X2 category. That's your general employee with voicemail and things of that nature, integration into Salesforce or whatever CRM and so on, all the way through an X8, which is omnichannel contact center with advanced analytics, outbound dialing, everything. Custom caller ID, outbound, everything right there in X8. So what we've got is with Microsoft, if you're going to put a phone, anything to do with phones, you're going to have a phone system license, just $8 a user a month from Microsoft. Then you look at your X series, which starts at the next one at $12 to $15, goes to an X8. So you see, that's the two things. So it looks like a regular license, it looks like it'd be around $23 per user before we get a discount. So when we look at all this, just to kind of wrap things up, you basically, you look at the current monthly cost, what you're spending on all your phone bills, your internet access, your legacy phone system, any kind of software assurance, your IT resources that you're being used to manage that phone system, security, what does that take? How much time does that take every month? Cloud-based apps, what are we spending on WebEx or GoToMeeting or some of these things? So we take your monthly cost, divide the number of users, and come up with a cost per user. So what really makes 8x8 Voice for Microsoft Teams the best solution for most organizations? Okay, one easy to manage platform does everything using X series licenses, native integration to Microsoft Teams and Salesforce, 8x8 Voice Microsoft Teams app that keeps them in team for everything, unlimited minutes, redundant network, and all the software is developed in-house through the front desk, which is a really cool app. And there's just one app for teams for everything from voice chat, video, screen sharing, task management, and more. And of course, then 10 times it's been in the Gartner Magic Quadrant as a provider for UCAS, which is also a good thing. So why work with Brookside Consulting? Trusted advisor helps from initial solution design to contracts and on through implementation. Decades of experience in cloud industry with the latest voice, video, and contact center providers. The latest network services provide the highest level of business continuity using SD-WAN. So I'm vendor agnostic. I care less who you choose, looking for the best deal and the right solution. We get the best pricing for our clients based on the volume of business that we recommend. And so they make us they take care of us, if you know what I mean. I'm local with the right connections to make it happen right the first time and come in on time. So and the best part is free consulting. We're paid by the provider for bringing in business, more or less. So we help you provide the best possible customer employee experience at the right price, with the goal to reduce complexity and cut the cost per user in half with the right cloud-based solution. So our website has got just a ton of information. So I highly recommend you go to brooksideus.com and just click around and see what you can learn about what we offer. I think one of the best tabs that will excite you will be the Microsoft Voice, Microsoft Teams, and more, where that's, like I said, where there's all kinds of information about how these solutions all work together. So Brookside Consulting, we'd love to talk to you about how we can help you reduce complexity and save money.